Our budget, our responsibility. Good afternoon, great countrymen. This afternoon, we're going to talk about what they call open budget survey. It's an independent and comparative fact-based kind of research that uses internationally accepted criteria to assess the public access to central government budget information, the form opportunities for the public to participate in the national budget process, and the role of the budget oversight bodies such as Parliament, the Auditor General in the budget processing. Now, to bring this conversation at home, with me in studio, I have Miss Christine Biringiro, the programs manager from the Uganda Dead Network. And this program is powered by the Uganda Dead Network in partnership with the Minister of Finance and Economic Planning as well as Development. Christine,
yes,
good to have you. We have just launched the open, the OBS. It has just been launched. What is the OBS for starters, for someone to understand it better?
Thank you, Andrew, and good afternoon, our viewers. The Open Budget Survey is a survey that is undertaken every 2 years. First of all, it is undertaken by the International Budget Partnership, which is the IBP, and they identify lead researchers in each of the countries where they work. For the OBS of 2021, they assessed 120 countries. Yes.
Did we qualify?
Yes, we are, because we are part of the process.
Okay.
So what they do, they measure the budgets of a country against 3 key parameters. That is public participation, transparency, and then budget oversight. So basically, the Open Budget Survey assesses those 3 parameters and then the countries, and then scores them. So they come up with a score. They share the recommendations to help improve
the processing of the budget.
Yes, to help improve the processes, the budget processes in each country, and yeah, basically that is it.
Why 2 years? Why isn't it done annually? How did we arrive to the 2 years?
Well, annually is a little too soon, especially when they are assessing many countries as that. But then again, you have to give time for the budget cycle for you to be able to collect some useful data. So yes.
Why should Ugandans be concerned about the open budget survey in these times of economic crisis where we are as a country?
Yes, basically Ugandans should be concerned because this is basically measuring how open our budgets are, the budget processes. And so why we are interested is because we want to see people participate in their budget processes, people influence the budget processes for, of course, better service delivery outcomes. Yeah. So for Uganda, we are not doing badly because we are assessed annually. Yes, on the open budgets, we've seen our performance improve over time. For instance, in 2021, the OBS 2021, with regard to transparency, we are number 43 out of the 120.
As a country?
Yes, Uganda as a country, yes. As the former minister was just telling us just now during the launch, how budgets were passed in the past, where the minister will come up and say, with effect from midnight today, the price of salt, a kilogram of salt, will go up to 5,000 from 3,000 shillings.
And it would.
And then, you know, the following day it has changed. And he says this is because in the interest of the health of the citizens of Uganda, their cases of high blood pressure have risen, and so that is why I'm taking that decision. But you do not have the Ministry of Health maybe corroborating that. You do not have the citizens.
In the technical information.
Exactly. You do not have the citizens participating. So that is how closed if I should use the term, yeah, the budgeting process and decisions were. But the more you have open budgets, if you have more transparency, if you have more public participation, if you have more oversight, then you will reduce such instances of decisions that are made without consultations, but you're also bringing on board the public, the citizens who are going to benefit by the way, and who participate in raising these the funds, you know, to facilitate the whole process. The
whole budget.
Yes.
When you look at the inclusion as a survey, do Ugandans feel they're actually very much part of it? Is the inclusion index reflective in the survey?
Well, for this particular survey, for this particular year, the 2021 OBS, our score reduced a bit on public participation to 19%.
Why?
And of course, some of the reasons are, one, when Parliament, for instance, is passing these budgets, sometimes because of COVID and, you know, like the restrictive measures, there's not enough participation of the public, you know, to come and input into the budget process and the budget itself before it could be passed by Parliament. And those are some of the parameters. But also when maybe Ministry of Finance went out and organized the regional budget meetings and etc., while they sent specific invitations to specific people, remember they were limiting the numbers because of COVID again.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was not open to the general public. But also as we measure public participation, beyond the specific invitations, we want to see an invitation that goes out to the public, generally, an open invitation.
There is a public hearing of this budget.
Exactly, and then they come and participate in the process. But beyond that, what the survey also measures is the participation of the special interest groups, beyond participation of the citizens. How many, maybe, have you included the lame? Yes, have they
blind.
also, the blind, the women, how many have been, you know? Because we want to see all these special interest groups bring and you know, make input, share their priorities, and these should then be reflected in the final budget.
Wow.
Yes.
So this survey, the one of 2021, were a little bit down, and COVID explains it. So I would like to know the beatitudes of the populace. Does the population of Uganda still believe in the budget?
Yes, they do believe so much in the budget, and that is why we see the level of participation in the budget processes has actually improved. Yes, and why is that? Because of the different measures, really, both by government, by civil society, to make sure that these people or the citizens participate in these processes. As an example, we have the Ministry of Finance came up with a budget website. That one, at least, it is accessible to some people. Information is got from there, and it is used because at least you can access from the website information that is relating to the last sub-county, the last utility, maybe a health center. You can actually access information on the portal. But we also have talked about the different regional budget meetings where citizens come in and share their
feedback to the budget.
Feedback, but also as civil society, we have seen civil society go out and popularize some of these, yes, the budget, but also the rights of citizens to participate and spaces for participation, but also how they can participate in these processes. But we've also seen civil society partner with government. As a matter of fact, there's what we call the National Budget Month partners. This is civil society and government, including Ministry of Finance. They meet every year during the budget month, that is June to July.
Yes.
make sure they raise awareness, they popularize the budget and then its processes. We have the Citizens Guide to the Budget, which is a simpler version of the budget. And so we've seen this effort, and over time there has been, you know, improved participation in the process by citizens.
Christine, I really love the inclusion and the approaches and strategies that are being placed on the ground to see that the wananchi actually understand the budget and all. But how do you then gauge the timely information, the accurate timely information to the citizens to make the rightful participation, if there is, the ones that come? We call them barazas, community barazas and all?
Yes, thank you. And that is one of the areas that we need to improve. Yes, there is some information that goes there out to the citizens. But one of the reasons actually we got this score, the 19, is because information is not published timely. Yeah. The budget is not uploaded in a timely manner. As soon as it is approved by Parliament, it is supposed to be uploaded within
to the
3
website.
months. Yes. But we see that has taken, you know, we need to improve because it is not done in a timely manner.
You know what, in some countries, the moment the budget is approved, after the minister reads it, it's uploaded immediately.
Yes, even before the reading.
Before the reading, it's already there.
Yes, as soon as Parliament has approved, because it is approved,
yes,
then
it should be public
accessible
document. Yes.
It should be accessible, but we see there are some areas where we need to improve. A lot done so far, but a lot more needs to be done. A lot more needs to be done.
What are we learning from our neighbors in the region? Are they doing any better, and what are they doing better than us when it comes to this kind of survey? Well,
interestingly, in the region, we are actually performing well.
Come on, Christine. We are we're performing better than it?
Yes, we are performing quite well in the region. Okay. We are the first in East Africa.
To be under the OBS?
No. Our position, yes, with regard to budget transparency and then budget citizens participation and then oversight, we are doing quite well, and they'll have to learn a lot from us as well. Yes.
I want to understand, why is the open budget survey more like a winning proposition? What makes it a winning proposition in a way?
Yes, it is a winning proposition. One, because it is pushing for citizen participation in the budget processes, not only in Uganda, but in the region, but also globally. Why we should embrace this and also learn from it is because, one, the results that come out will encourage you to do better. Especially if you know, if you know you have, you're competing with others, maybe the peers in the region, but also globally. But also you want to learn from the countries that have done it better or that are doing it better. We want to see how are we faring compared to Denmark, for example, and is there anything we can learn from them? How are they doing it? If their transparency score is 100 out of 100, are there any lessons that we can pick? But more importantly, the fact that your citizens, or you know, the public, is given spaces to participate in the budget process. One, to be able to know and trace where the resources are going, because
accountability.
If government is sitting on a round table and then calls you to be part of the budget process right from the enactment of the budget, if you can make proposals and then they are debated and then they come through and then they explain to the citizen, or the citizen understands how much money is going where and for what, they'll be able to monitor the utilization of these resources from an informed point of view, because they have the information, they have the evidence, and so they will also pick the interest to follow up the implementation of these. And then when we come finally to the oversight function, they are able to hold their leaders accountable. If money was not spent according to the plans, how was it spent? Why was it diverted? And so we see there will definitely be improved service delivery if we are able as citizens to participate in these processes, because they are transparent and you're accessing the information, but also we see that we are able to influence service delivery. We are able to hold our leaders to account, and then there'll be reduced corruption, because corruption thrives when there's no one watching.
Accountability, yes.
Exactly. So if there are so many eyes that are watching, most likely the corruption will reduce or will not be there at all.
I strongly believe, and those comrades who are joining us, we're discussing about the Open Budget Survey 2021 that has been launched today by the Uganda Debt Network in partnership with the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development today. You need to know what it speaks about is, and in studio we may have Christine from Uganda Debt Network. Christine,
yes.
The survey found that Uganda provided scant budget information. That could sound as researcher kind of jargon. What does it mean?
The scanty budget information, that would mean that the information that is availed, probably uploaded or availed, basically that can be accessed by the public or by the citizen, is not adequate enough for them to you know, like review and be able to make an informed decision or better participate in the whole process. They probably, that would mean that if you need maybe 100%, or if you need 5 documents for you to review and then be able to input into a process, probably 3 or 2 of those documents are not available. So you're not able to effectively input into the process.
That's what it means. So this happens to be the 8th one.
Yes,
of its kind, and the score for transparency stagnated because some budget documents were published late.
Yes.
How do we fix that going forward? Because this is the 8th time. We should have learned maybe from the 2nd or the 3rd time, but on the 8th time it's still late.
No, what happens is that yes, we have recommendations in there on how government, or on how as Uganda we can improve our score in that area, and so we always do follow up with the responsible agencies, the ministries and departments of government, to ensure that we do better next time. So it is usually a process. It is always a process. Yes.
Is it expensive? Is this kind of process very expensive for government to meet the transparency indices, or it is something we can fix?
Well, it is not expensive for governments.
Okay.
Yes, it is not expensive for government to be transparent, for it to include the public in the budget process, and to also undertake oversight, because one, all the documents at least are in place, they are available. The main thing really is to make sure that these are available to the public in a timely manner, to enable them make useful input. Yes, because if you're going to give me a document, if I am supposed to make input to the national budget of 2023-24, for instance, and you're bringing the regional budget meetings to consult me maybe towards the end of that financial year.
It's not fair.
You are enabling me to participate, but it is not effective because
it's too late.
It is too late. So my participation will mean nothing. So participation has to be timely. If it has to be effective and relevant. Yes. So
when we get to the participation, our language is covered. You know, we have quite different dialects here in the country. How do you cover the issue of language barriers? Because, I mean, it's a national thing, and we are being monitored, and we're working with international budget partners on the other side.
Well, languages definitely have to be covered, just like I talked about the inclusion of the special interest groups. It is in the interest of government and incumbent on government to make sure that the participation includes the public or includes everyone. So it just does not, for instance, if I just give you information, maybe on the budget, or I publish it on the website, or the budget as it is read. I just put it on the website, and that is all. I cannot say there is public participation.
True.
So you have to make sure that this information is packaged in a way that the person you're targeting is able to receive it or access it,
and
understand it, and then be able to use it to participate or to influence the processes. So of course that will bring in all the issues of the language. If I have to understand it,
it better be in my language.
Exactly, in a language I understand best.
That's true.
Andrew might understand, you know, like 7 languages. Yes, if it is English, Luganda, Swahili. Yes, but if you give me the document in Kiswahili,
you're off the grid.
Exactly. So that will not. So that is one of the principles. Or those are some of what is packed within the participation and the transparency. Just beyond, you know, like throwing the information there. How are you looking at the outcome? How will it be used? Yes. Is it going to be useful?
Let's look at the reliability. How reliable is the OBS results? You know, we are looking at all these results showing Uganda is here in the region, we are leading. How reliable are these results of the Open Budget Survey?
Well, first of all, these are researchers, global, at that level, and they have been in this for since 2006. That is, I think, over 10 years, if almost over 20 years as well. And so they are independent. It is independent. They have engaged different credible research institutions, and they do this globally. They have not, at least I haven't seen any country that has come out to contest the results of this, of the OBS, of the Open Budget Survey. But I have seen there are some countries that have improved over time because of the Open Budget Survey. And so this is a credible, you know,
it is a credible process and all.
It is a credible process. Increasingly, I see the countries assessed continue to increase over time. Yes, meaning maybe more and more countries have seen
picking on the survey and becoming better.
They see the benefits maybe from the countries that are participating, and there is need. They see the need for them to participate and do better.
Kristen, this then brings me to a question. Then what is a citizen's budget? For us to understand it, because we have talked a lot about inclusion, we've talked about technical languages here and there in the Open Budget Survey, but we need to understand what's a citizen's budget. What are some of the key indicators one would look at and say, this is our budget, and then it's our responsibility?
Well, a citizen's budget is one that is simplified into a language that is really easy for the ordinary Ugandan to understand. If I look at this budget, first of all, it is not as bulky as you know, the
content is not heavy.
Exactly. It is quite light, easy to carry around, but also easy to understand. It's and easy to understand by everyone. If I do not know how to read, am I able to look at this citizen's budget and
make sense
understand what the budget is about? Does it have maybe the pictures, the pictorial? You know, it is a budget that is very easy to understand by the citizens. Before you even explain to him that maybe health has been given, you know, a certain percentage, maybe a certain percentage
energy is going to reduce this much.
Exactly. When a citizen, an ordinary citizen,
can make
when
sense
they look
of the data
at this, yes, at the citizen's budget, are they able to understand it easily? Are they able to know what it is saying, and therefore able to maybe make meaningful contribution, debate, and etc. And so that would be my definition of a citizen's budget. Yes.
I want to understand the connection between the transparency, the budget transparency, and the effect it has on the lives of people who are living in poverty or underdeserved communities.
Yes.
How big is that effect?
Yes, budget transparency is basically how open or transparent is the budget. If maybe Andrew is living in wherever in Kisoro, for instance, and is
Sorry, is good. I'm grateful you placed me in a good area.
Yes, yes. Am I able, or are you able to access the information? Sometimes you don't really have to go out and fight to get this information. If I need this information, even when I do not need it or look for it. Is it so easy for me to get? Is it easy for me to understand? Yes, that is budget transparency. Are the budgets open? Do I know how much the budget is going to give me? Like I talked about the website. How much is finance going to, for instance, send to the school, the UPE school in Kisoro? If it is sending this much, am I able to go there to my to the head teacher or to the school
and I ask if they have received this much? And I
see it maybe reflected on the notice board. Yes, I have to see it. If I have any questions about it, can I ask? Is there someone I can ask and explains to me what that means? And then I will then continue to monitor. If I come and maybe the classroom is not constructed,
yet money was dispersed for
exactly. Did you receive the money? Yes, it came.
Why are you not constructing then?
Exactly. So the whole process has to be open. It basically has to be transparent. And then if it is constructed, am I directly benefiting,
as a citizen?
Exactly.
I hear you. I believe in the open source journalism. That's why I'm very interested about the open budget survey here. When it gets to the media, have we, the media, played quite a reflective role on disseminating of the OBS? Or we don't understand it in a way. And I'm asking this for purposes of aligning the fourth estate to critical surveys like this, because once we're informed better, we're in position to equally inform our audiences far better.
I wish I could throw the question back to you, but no, we will share the question.
We are going to share it, Christine.
Yes. One, I believe the media, because of its outreach, is one of the key, if not the key, partner in sharing and disseminating this information, but also raising awareness and public, knowledge about some of these things. And yes, we have, over time, since 2006, we have been involving the media.
Okay.
But in as far as the open budget survey is concerned, when we are disseminating the results, yes, the media come and they share the results for Uganda's performance. But also I see that the media has been actively involved in sharing information, like building or, provoking public debate
on the budget.
Generally the budget, yes, because this is about the budget process.
True.
I see, the media usually publishes information, especially when the budget has just been read or maybe even approved. And this generates quite some debate, yes, both on print, on radio, which I think previously maybe was not as much as it is. Probably what we need to do beyond this is to further interest the citizens, because beyond maybe giving this information out to the public, we need to increasingly also focus on what the public is saying about the budget.
About the budget, yes. I totally agree. As we're finalizing this conversation, Christine, we're discussing about the OBS, that is the Open Budget Survey, the 2021. It has been launched today afternoon. I think it's now an hour ago, and it has a couple of recommendations. Christine, what are some of the key recommendations from this survey where we can learn as a country possibly to become better, that we are leading in the region, but you know, even becoming better on the continental level and internationally?
Yes. One of the key recommendations, as earlier observed, is that we should try to always upload or publish the budget in a timely manner. That is within 3 months of its approval. That will definitely, you know, like score us so many marks. But also other recommendations include encouraging public participation, because beyond, you know, just sharing information to the public, we want to see maybe Parliament invite different members of the public, whether it is through CSO representation or different groups, private sector, those who are, you know, participate in groupings, invite them to come and make input in the process just before the budget is passed and approved. Okay. Yes, those are some of the recommendations.
Those are some of the key recommendations. Yes. We are still having this conversation. Someone here says, I think, okay, this is an off comment. Let's look at the innovative ways. Are there innovative ways we can scale up the inclusion purposes of the countrymen? Because there are those who are offline, but they are on the ground, and possibly the inclusion aspect would actually mean quite a lot for this conversation. Are there innovative ways, or are you training enough capacity on the ground vis-a-vis the parish development model, going up to the parish level?
One of the ways is really to intentionally target groups, the special interest groups, maybe the disabled, the persons with disabilities, the women, the youth, and some of these belong to groups. They have formed groups. So are we able to bring them on board, and then we make sure we focus? We could actually ensure that maybe during the regional budget meetings, we focus and say maybe a percentage of these must be women, and then maybe 30% must be youth, maybe 10% must be, to make sure that we do not leave out some of these groups, because their participation is key. If they do not participate, because, well, Andrew, you know your needs better than I do.
Very much.
Even when I have sent my member of parliament, maybe to parliament, if I'm a woman and my MP is a man, even when they're in parliament, there are some things about, you know, me.
He cannot
by the fact that I'm a woman, which will not come out.
Yes, true.
If I am a PWD, person with different abilities, that is what they call them now. There might be those needs that are unique to me that you might not be able to bring out and focus. Yes,
that's true.
So even children, there are those specific needs that are, you know, unique to them that will need to come out. And so if we have all these interests clearly come out and be represented in the bigger document or in the budget processes, then I believe we'll have captured quite a lot. Yes, we will be doing better.
Musoke Swaibu says, thank you for this conversation, NTV and Christine. It's my first time to actually hear about Open Budget Survey. Indeed, information gaps are killing us. I want to know, what are some of the findings of the survey?
Yes.
These are a view on the other side. Thank you, Musoke, for the information.
Yes, one of the findings of the survey, unfortunately I keep having to repeat, is that information on the budget is uploaded late, sometimes not sometimes, but is uploaded late and is not available on time. And so that is why our performance is still stagnating, yes. And then still the limited oversight by some of these institutions, the oversight institutions, we have Parliament and the Auditor General, has also affected our performance or had us, you know, stagnate in our performance. And so we need to ensure that we improve in some of these areas with regard to timeliness especially, so that we are able to improve our score ultimately. As
a country.
Yes.
Well, as we're finalizing this, now the survey is out in the void. Where can Ugandans find this survey? And when they find it and they read it, can they make sense of it? In case they have questions, where do they run to? Do they come to the Uganda Dead Network, or do they go to a particular portal to answer the questions?
Yes, the survey is out. It's now public.
A public document,
yes. It is available on the UDN website. It is available on the IBP website. We do have hard copies, both at Uganda Debt Network and at the Ministry of Finance. And upon request, it is also accessible and available. Yes, and maybe beyond this, this will not be the end, just the launch.
Yeah, that's what we wanted to know. So post-launch, what other activities do we have, and how do we participate? Because inclusion is now key.
Yes, so post the launch, we still have activities really following up on the whole process of how can we improve or make our budgeting process or our transparency, our public participation even better. We usually follow up on the recommendations to make sure that they are implemented for a better score in future. And some of the actions in this direction include capacity building, capacity strengthening in the event that there are gaps. This include working with the Ministry of Finance, for instance, to make sure that the process of uploading or publishing some of these documents is made more swift. Yes, we also work with different, you know, like with different citizens at all levels, at the grassroots, at the national level, to make sure that we popularize these findings, but we also popularize the fact that they are supposed to participate in these budget processes, to make sure that there is transparency, to make sure that they participate, and then we improve our score. So the activities are ongoing. They're always ongoing. Trainings for both the technical wing, the government part, but also the citizens, to make sure that at the appropriate time, when the research now comes and is, you know, then there is some evidence to show that we are improving. The recommendations are being worked on.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Christina. I hope my fellow Ugandan, you've today learned one or two things and how you can actually be a part of this conversation. Kindly log on to the www.ugandadebtnetwork.org and get this kind of information, or you go to the Ministry of Finance, Economic Development and Planning. You'll see this document is there. Not only that, be one of those Ugandans who want to understand more of what their budget is and what is in for you. With me in studio I had Miss Christine Bairinjira. Is that the right pronunciation? Birinjiro from Uganda Dead Network. And thank you so much for being such a great audience. This information keeps coming to you because it's timely for you to take the action you need to take as a citizen. The next time these kind of conversations come to your village, to your parish, to your sub-county, be a part of these conversations to bring the change we want. Good afternoon.